Hey guys, welcome to Joseph in Crypto. Today I want to talk about IDOs and identifying good projects and bad projects. If you're new to crypto like I was, you'll get into a lot of projects and you won't know if it's good or bad. And there's a few signs that I realized that will really show if a project is going to do well or if it's going to do really bad. And I want to talk about an idea that I got into and my experience with it, and just give you guys some like case studies of projects that have done well and projects that haven't done well. So I got into TrustPad only because they were part of a project that did really well, which is called Polka Fantasy. Right here, the allocation was really small, but I was like, you know what, I'll invest in this just because they had one good one. Snook was a good one, Network was a good one, Legedy was a good one, Babylon's, etc. So they had some good ones, and I was like, all right, let me invest in it. When I took a look at the price action and how price did from the IDO price to what price is trading at today, about 50% of their projects were actually really bad, and you would end up losing money if you held. Now, you would have made money if you sold like at the right time, but in most cases, this IDO underperformed. And with IDO season coming up, I'm sure that people are going to be looking for good IDOs. This is not one I would recommend unless you are skilled and you're going to, very strategically use this. But so the first red flag for me was just seeing that, hey, some of these actually did really bad. And obviously they had some goldmine gems like Polka Fantasy, but they also had some really bad ones. So I got in and I got into this one, FNDZ. And it's interesting because I got out, and in the chat, another red flag for me was I was like, hey, this looks like it's going to keep going down. And my comment gets deleted, and then someone starts cussing me a lot. And then the mods are supporting him. Now, what does that tell you about this project? That tells you that this isn't a very professional project. It's probably a bunch of shills. And so let's take a quick look. Like, first of all, when you see an IDO do this kind of thing, that should be a red flag for you immediately to be like, whoa, hey, investors are dumping, right? There's only $157,000 in liquidity, and yet this had $500,000 worth or $480,000 worth. So it's negative, right? Like, this liquidity is not enough for what people put in. That's already another red flag. Now, I sold in between anywhere from like here to here at 85. And when you see this kind of action, it's easy to just ignore your senses and be like, oh, hey, it's going up. It's going to keep going up. And it's funny because in the chat, like, there's this guy who was really, really upset at the fact that I said that price looked like it was going to go down. And, like, cool. It's probably someone who loses quite a lot of money on crypto. And I was like that too at one point, where I just believed that things would keep going up or would stop just constantly going down. And I ended up losing a lot of money. And so now I'm a lot more safe when it comes to what I invest and what I do. And thankfully, I've been able to recoup quite a lot of the losses early on. But so the other red flag is simply, first of all, when you see something like this, right? Well, first of all, it should have been when you see $500,000 and then the liquidity pool is only 156,000. That just screams to you that there's a big issue with this project. And then the fact that TrustPad, like the whole admin stuff, the whole 50% of these projects doing really bad, like that should be a huge red flag for you to want to quickly make sure you get your money, right? So if we look, I really love this as an example because I feel it too, right? Like when we see it, let's say you do technical analysis and you're like, okay, here's a trend line, right? Oh, price just broke through the trend line and it retested, except it still continues to go down. And then here you might be like, when I saw this actually, I was like, it's funny because I feel some FOMO of like, oh, hey, I did sell some at 80 cents. Should I buy back in? Which, by the way, I'm not going to buy back in for this project at all. To me, this project's going to nothing. Not nothing, but it's going to go very low. Um, it's easy to be like, oh my God, we're going up, and then bam. And when things don't make sense logically, it's wise to just take care of your funds, at least take out what you put in and a little bit more so that you have some profit, and then let the rest ride, and that way you can sleep really easily. And I've gone through that phase of losing a lot of sleep when it comes to crypto, but if we look, I didn't even have to see the rest of this chart because I knew this would be a dump type of scenario, and boom, we're trading right here. And I fully expect this to continue dropping. Probably below the IDO price of 24 cents. But let's see, it's like I saw someone say like, oh, I'm going to go to sleep and watch this be $1 tomorrow, which makes no sense, right? If you take, let's say you did some technical analysis and you take even a fib retracement, like best case scenario, we go to like what, 71 cents, like best case scenario before we come down. Like that's best case scenario. Whatever. Anyway, the whole point of this video is to just say that when it comes to your funds, like you have to really guard it, and you have to look out for red flags of either IDOs that you participate in or groups or coins that you're in. The conversations in the group should be very wholesome, and I found that this is very true when it comes to solid projects. You think about things like Solana, Cardano, Matic, Polygon, right? Like in these chats, you're not going to see moon boys of like, oh my God, we're going to moon. And that's so funny because I saw this in this chat and I was like, that's a huge red flag. And actually, every single time without fail that I've seen this kind of talk, it's tanked. Pancake Bunny, right? That was a really big project. I even put quite a lot of money in. And I watched my money 2x to go back down to less and less and less. And at the time it was pumping was when all the moon boys were there, where they were like, oh my God, this is going to go to XXX. And that's all nonsense. It's a huge red flag, and you should probably pull out when you start seeing that kind of conversation. But anyway, so IDO season is coming. I'm pretty sure we're going to start seeing a lot of 50 to 100 X's. Polka Fantasy's been the best for me, which has done like I think 30X or something like that. I haven't sold it, so it's unrealized profit. So it could very well go down by a lot. If you did get into Polka Fantasy from this one, you would have been very lucky because it was their best performing one, and I think it did like forgot what it was. It was like $17 for the base allocation. The levels here would have probably been 2x if you were on at least prospect. And so that would have been what, $34 times 30, so it would have been like $1,000 or something like that. But anyway, so this type of price action is just something that you want to look out for if you're going to get into coins, whether it's an IDO or a coin that's not an IDO. Like, just stay away from these types of charts where things just go down and you see low liquidity and you know that the IDO had a lot of money behind it. Do your own research. This is not financial advice. It's just hoping to help the crypto community in a way that they don't lose all their money like I did early on and get pretty much tricked into holding. And I think like this whole narrative of paper hands or whatever, like it's really dumb, because in the end people lose all their money from that, and the simple hope that they're going to make money and that if they just hold it, it'll do well. And while if you're in solid projects, that will work, right? Like if you're in something like Matic or Cardano or Polkadot, like, yeah, those coins are going to go through price action too, but you know that in 5 years time, there's a high chance that they're still going to be around. But projects like this, you have no idea, right? Like the chance of this surviving is very slim. And this project seems very promising to me. It's just There's too many competitors out there that already do this. What are they going to do better? And is their marketing really that much more amazing, this specific, not TrustPad? And to me, the answer is no. So why would I invest in it? Now, if I'm wrong and this is super, like, ends up being really good, then obviously this is probably going to do like 1,000x, right? So, I mean, if you want and you IDO'd in this, sure, keep like $50 of profit or whatever it is, $200 of profit into it and just let it ride and ignore it and be at peace with the fact that you've already pulled out more money than you put in. But in my personal opinion, I wouldn't want to invest in something like this just because the probability of me losing money is actually really, really, really high. And I don't like that probability for myself. So I hope this really helps. If you have any questions, just comment and I'll be happy to answer.